Everybody, this is David Bayata. Welcome to the Q1 2014 Home Health All Hands Hangout. I'm really excited because this is the first time that we've had the opportunity to hang out from within one of our clients' homes. And so rather than spend time on a organizational update and some slides that talk about the state of the practice, I'm really going to spend time in a conversation talking with Mr. Giffords here and Barbara, his physical therapist, to really get to know them and hear their story, which I think is without question the most important part of what we do. So I'll give a brief introduction on kind of how I think things are going in the practice, but I'll really then just turn their way and spend some time talking to them. So welcome. As you know, this Hangout is broadcast live via YouTube to anybody that's watching, and then also available recorded to all of our employees and really anybody that wants to tune in. And I think our primary objective is to connect and to engage and to really establish a dialogue with each other about the nature of our work, the purpose and meaning of our work, and really remind each other about why we're doing this, what we're doing, and what's important about the nature of the services we provide inside the homes of our clients. In the first quarter, we took care of more people than any other quarter in our history. We continue to be asked to take on the responsibility of taking care of more people, which is a testament to the work that you all do to support your clients and their effort to stay safe at home. And so that's an exciting milestone. I think we are in a challenging time with reimbursement decline and regulatory complexity, but what inspires me when I come to people's homes or when I am visiting you all in the offices where you work is people's commitment to values, to purpose, and to the meaningful work that we all engage in together. And so I'm particularly excited because those values are nowhere more present than inside the home. And so to be able to hang out today and broadcast from within one of our many clients' homes, I think is particularly special. So with that, I'm gonna let Mr. Giffords introduce himself, and really we're going to spend time talking a little bit about the services here, and more broadly the nature of the work that we do in the context of one of the many homes where we provide service. So with that,
okay,
tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Steve Gifford, and you can call me Steve. And I came to Bayada on November 1st, 2013, and I had been recovering from an operation that I had in August of 2013, and I came out paraplegic. So I first had to go to a hospital rehab setting, and I'm not sure if somebody from Bayada called on me there, but by the time I got to, was transferred to another home called Golden Living, then the Bayada representative came in and saw me. And you know, you have several choices where you want to go, and she was just so good at what she did. There was no doubt in my mind that she just took care of everything and greased the skids, and I went with Bayada. I just really never considered anybody else. And I left that home, like I said, October 31st, came here November 1st, and our experience has been that Bayada coordinates all the services you're going to need or that you're eligible for, and takes care of authorizing them, and they just show up and get done for you. So I've had nursing. I've had Tony and Megan as my nurses. I've had occupational therapy with Darcy. I've had physical therapy with Emily, Barbara, and Bonnie. And I've had home health care with numerous people in and out. Courtney and Jenny and Jerima. So I've used Bayada a lot.
Great.
Mute your camera. You gotta mute your settings.
Okay.
She's texting me.
Pardon me while we manage technical difficulties. Did they teach you this in PT school?
No, nothing at all like this.
We okay?
Turn yours off for a second and wait and see if it sends you.
Well, I can't really turn it off because this is the only
I'm
microphone.
not sure what the issue is.
You're sure you're muted?
Got a little red slash to my microphone.
Make sure you turn your speakers off too.
Try saying something. Give us a test there.
Well, there's a little bit of a delay, so it probably won't work properly. There's definitely a couple of minute delay. So we'll keep going. We'll charge ahead, and we'll see how it comes out. Okay. Maybe talk for a minute just about the first day. The first, you kind of get home, and you have your first visit. What was that experience like, and kind of what did you expect, and what happened? Like, how did it unfold?
Whoa, good question. It's very hectic the first day, coordinating. In my case, because I'm paraplegic, it starts with leaving the home, getting transportation. In November was bad weather that day. So when we got here, we needed a hospital bed. It's critical for me to have somewhere to lay down on. And that was all taking place as I got here and being set up. And I forget if Beata was here when I got here or not.
Probably not right away.
Yeah, but it wasn't long.
Mm-hmm.
And I started getting the calls from them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first one that shows up is your nurse
Mm-hmm.
and does a lengthy assessment of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they check everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess they start writing orders for your therapists and everything you're going to need.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ball starts rolling.
Yeah.
And then you don't really, with Beata bringing all these people in, you don't just sit around. You have somebody coming in pretty regularly to get you up and get you moving. And that's important. It still is for me, because you got to, when you're paraplegic, you're bedridden, but you got to get up and give it a try. And so the therapists are real good with protecting you and your safety and all that, and giving you confidence to do things. It wasn't long. I was in the home at Golden Living for like 45, 50 days. And by the time I was here, by the third session with Emily, she had me up in a walker. And all that time, they never had me in a walker. And she was like, let's do it. Get up. That was a big milestone. Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have been some of the other milestones that you can think of along the way?
The biggest one of all that I just can't explain to you what it means to somebody is showering.
Mm.
When you can't shower, you go a couple weeks without a shower. I bet you everybody in this room showers every day. You go a couple weeks sponge bathing, and you are crawling the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So Darcy, I told her that. She was the occupational therapist. She's like, tell your brother to go to Home Depot, get a transfer bench. He put it together for me. She came in. She's like, whoa, it's already put together. Usually I have to do that. And got me in and out of the shower. We practiced one time, and then we made a live run. And that made a world of difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara, how long have you been at Beata?
I've been there about 3 years.
3 years. And how long have you been working with Mr. Giffords?
I believe I started with him in January, coming up 4 months now.
Right, when I got back from Health South.
Yes.
Cool. What's been the most rewarding part of working with Mr. Giffords and his family?
Well, I've enjoyed working with Steve because he's very motivated and he's very compliant with his home program. And he is young and has goals, and he's willing to do whatever I ask him to do. And we've done some not unorthodox, but some unusual things to get him to be able to do what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been able to just think out of the box with him and try different things. In the home setting, you got to be creative. And
home therapists are very creative.
Yeah.
Anything they see laying around your house becomes an aid you can use in therapy, believe me.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's cool. What's been, for you, the most rewarding milestone?
When he was able to do a car transfer.
Yeah.
That was just recent, and that gives him, the ability to get out of his house.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been out of his house until just recently, going to doctor's appointments. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, I forgot that one. Yeah, that's huge too.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Talk a little bit about, from your perspective, the differences. So from his perspective, he just mentioned the creativity of home therapy.
Mm-hmm.
What's, from your perspective, what's it like providing service in the home, and how does it how is it rewarding in terms of the nature of the rehab that you're providing?
Well, I think for myself, home care I like the home care setting because coming from an outpatient setting, I can deal one-on-one with the patient, and I don't have to juggle. And so my entire focus is on the patient that I'm with. And when you're in the home, I've been spending about 45 minutes with Mr. Gifford, and it's just been rewarding to see him meet his little goals, and just to get to know him and his family as well. I come in and they always ask me how I'm doing, and we chat a little bit before we get to work. So it's just more personable in the home setting, and you're involved not just in his therapy, but in his family life and things like that. And you have to look at it from almost a nursing perspective and make sure he's doing okay every day, and a home health aide, kind of comprehensive service, not just a PT. So, so I think that's probably the most rewarding thing for me.
Yeah, home therapy is you get so much more out of it than if you're in a gym or whatever they call it, a therapy room, because your therapist's working with nobody but you. So they don't lay you off to a piece of equipment or let you lay on a table and go work with other people. She just works with you until you say you need a rest. Then you take a little rest, and you just do it. So you get like 3 times as much with a home therapist as you do if you go to a therapy gym. That's why I like home therapy.
Very cool. One of the things that I learned that's interesting about you is, and we talked about this a little bit, is the decision to go to sort of go back into a subacute or a skilled nursing setting in order to get a more intensive rehab, to sort of continue to push yourself and sort of almost get back into a rehab facility rather than an acute facility by sounds like by your decision in order to continue to progress. To talk about that a little bit.
Well, this is not my house. This is my parents' house that I'm living with. So I'm highly motivated to get back to my house. And that involves a 2-story with steps. So Emily got me up and moving and all that, and she said, why don't you try Health South? They have steps over there that you can work on, and big therapists to hold you up while you're going up and down. And they did. And we did do that, and it did give me confidence that I can at least struggle through a couple of steps. And then, wouldn't you know it, my 20 days ran out right at the end. But that was really the driving decision, is what are the issues in the house I'm going to, and how do we overcome them?
Got it. And how did that fit into your care plan and what you're working on, Barbara?
Well, I started working with him when he came out of Health South, and he still had a lot of weakness and difficulty transferring. So we've been working on a lot of core strengthening, a lot of balance. When I first started working with him, he couldn't stand and let go of his walker. Now he can stand and use his arms, folding towels and different functional things. So we've really taken from where he was to what he's able to do now. Is the car transfers, he's doing some walking, able to balance a little bit. And his goal is to get to his house. He does have steps. There's no steps here. I was bringing in a little platform that he was stepping up and down, but it's not quite the same as going up steps. So like I said, he's very motivated, works really hard. So I think he's ready for that next level where he might be able to do more to get him back to his house.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. It's interesting. We talk within our organization, and I guess within the industry, there's this big push for managing rehospitalization. Right, it's a big deal. The government's focused on keeping people out of the hospital, keeping them safe at home. And one of the things we spend a lot of time on within our organization is when appropriate, rather than going back to the most expensive setting, which would be an acute care, a hospital, there's an opportunity to go back to an alternative setting like a rehab facility which is slightly lower cost, but for a specific purpose, wherein you may not need all the things that are available in a hospital. And it doesn't always come. For some people, I think they feel like, oh, it's going back to a facility, I've failed, or it's a shame that I wasn't able to keep them safe at home. And so what's kind of inspiring and unique about the story is that you use it as part of your rehab plan and as part of your progression, which I think is really cool. And I think often not necessarily intuitive to people is how to use these alternative settings to continue to create progress to eventually reach your objective.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't been back to my house since August, since I went to the hospital. So I know a lot of people complained in the rehab hospitals who were there a couple of weeks. That's all they talked about, getting home. And I thought, gee, I haven't been there since August. Why would I want to go home? This is where I need to be to get my strength, and so I can go to my house safely. Yeah. And that's my big issue. Even now, I could go there, but there's just some.
You have to learn to walk.
Yeah, I have to learn how to deal with some things to be safe, and all in time. It seems like it's taking forever for me, but Barbara and my therapist and them say you're making progress. Stick with it. So that motivates me.
Very cool, inspiring. What's your perspective of an organization like Beata, or even what are you curious about as it relates to us, and what do you, if you wanted to say something to sort of other people that you don't get to engage with on a daily basis, what would you say?
Well, to tell you the truth, I never knew this type of organization existed, because you never know they're there till you need them. And you're laying in the hospital thinking, oh my God, what is going to become of me? And all of a sudden, they say, oh, there's like a couple of these organizations, you pick one where you want to go. And you're like, wow, isn't America great that they provide this? The social contract is there to help people who are desperately in need of it. So you're very thankful for your organization. And that there's no cost to the patient is just unbelievable. And like I say, I think it was Celeste that called on me at Golden Living, and you have a lot to thank with her, because she's right there. She's going around seeing all the patients, and the day I said I was leaving, she was right there. She just happened to be in visiting these people and said, we're taking them. Let's go. Sign paperwork, and away we go.
Amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah. So I think Beata is a good organization. There's one of the things that people maybe that need this kind of service. Probably a lot of people are retired, and there's a lot of phone calling and arranging that goes on, because all the Beata employees probably see multiple patients every day. I'm sure they're seeing more than me. And that's a lot of phone calling back and forth to arrange visits and cancellations and adjust schedules on their part. So I can see that sometimes from retired people's standpoint, it's like, oh, I don't want to be involved in work and phone calling and all that anymore. So anything you can do to minimize that from a patient standpoint might be good. That might be why sometimes people maybe have trouble getting a hold of them or whatever. They're like, oh, it's this guy calling again or whatever.
It's a great. What other things do you find that you wish you could change about the service, or about the organization, or about anything in terms of the experience? Be honest. You can be honest.
Well, I find that if whatever you can get services as far as home health care goes for your patients, max out on it. You might as well get it. So all these people that help you shower and laundry or whatever you can do, that's helpful. And you were saying before about the state trying to reduce their costs by keeping people out of expensive homes and in their own home. Can they do a little bit to keep them there, and it's cheaper than putting them in an expensive home? There's a program the state of Pennsylvania has called Act 150. And it's for people that that have too much resources for Medicaid, but it reduces their costs of getting home health care and all that. And the state of Pennsylvania isn't funding it right now. So I don't know what to do about that. I don't know. Call your representative, I guess, or whatever, or threaten to go back to the homes and say, well, would you rather pay $1,000 a day for somebody to be in a home, or $50 or $60 to have some people come in and help them?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. You state it better than I do, that's for sure. Yeah, thank you for saying that. And if you had to speak on behalf of other clients and give advice to the clinicians, the nurses and therapists and other staff at Bayada, give advice to them about how to ensure that they do as good a job as what you've spoken of your team, what advice would you give to the other Bayada clinicians out there?
Well, one of the things, maybe Bayada falls into a subset of overall healthcare workers, hospital systems and all that. And not Barbara, she's very good about it, but other ones have a habit of when they're with you, they'll take personal calls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just bad. You just shouldn't do it. And they do it in hospitals and that too.
Yeah.
And to me, it's don't ever do something you wouldn't do in front of your supervisor or whatever. And I'm sure they wouldn't want you taking phone calls when you're with a client. Wait till you're not with the client anymore.
That was not a plan. And I couldn't agree more. Thank you for saying it.
Okay.
Thank you for saying it. I
Got
feel,
that off my chest.
Yeah, good. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me put you on the spot.
Okay. You asked.
I always. I think one of the things that that you mentioned earlier was that you didn't realize that Bayada took care of people in so many places. But one of the things that some people don't realize about us also is, that we're a kind of a values-driven organization, and we spend a lot of time talking about this document we call the Bayada Way. And I'm curious, without reading this document, what are the values or sentiments that you expect or seek in someone that's providing you with healthcare in general, not just Bayada, but whether you're in Health South or at a hospital? What are the types of behaviors or emotions or things that you want them to exude?
Again, my situation is I'm paraplegic. And that's a tiny subset of the patients in healthcare. And for me, it means there's a lot of things that I need done for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like dealing with people, and it seems to be the more experienced ones who know how to deal with paraplegics and say, oh, you have to get this for him, or you have to put his pants on the bed for him. He can't go over to the dresser and get them.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's the value of understanding my personal position.
Mm.
And a lot of healthcare workers will just kind of do a drive-by with you, and you realize, wow, they don't even realize I'm paraplegic. They haven't even looked at my records or folder or anything like that. And that would be another one too, to review the case of the patient. And be familiar with it when you get there, rather than have to spend a lot of time asking them a lot of questions. I think some people don't even review it. They just come there and then they start the visit.
That's right. That's great feedback. There's a couple of phrases in here that come to mind related to what you described, but listen closely, show empathy, and respond to the needs of others is definitely one of them. One of the things that I think a lot about is we have three values in here: compassion, excellence, and reliability. And the one that I think about a lot is reliability. And I ask people in all contexts, clients, employees, referral sources, insurance companies, what does reliability mean to you? And so from your perspective, what does reliability mean?
Well, of course, that's being, on time, being here as agreed with the appointment. And the biggest problem I found with that was when there were problems with the scheduling, it seemed to be the problem was really with getting authorizations to get people there. And so they would run smack into the wall when we don't have an authorization. Your appointment's coming up, and the only thing I can tell you there is I don't know how the business works, but in that case you have to get on the phone and at least tell the client, I don't have authorization, we can't be there. Don't just let them hang to where nobody shows up. That's bad.
Yep.
That's bad.
All right, so don't be afraid of bad news, and just be open and forthcoming, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I know there's probably some patients that you hate to call because they ask a lot of questions and go on, but that's maybe just something people need training with, how to do, how the business part of it works, how to bring things to a head and, get off the phone with people. Yeah. I know I've noticed with healthcare workers, they don't always have that I worked in a bank for 25 years. They don't always have that profitability business drive behind them. They'll spend a lot of time with bandaging and helping and all that, and maybe they need a little more training on what do you do when you have somebody that you need to cut it short with them and get out of there.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple of phrases in here that I think are consistent. Consistently deliver expected services in the value of reliability, and fulfill our clients' needs promptly and thoroughly. Definitely fits. Your first answer to the question fits in excellence for sure. What about compassion? And what does compassion mean to you?
Well, I'll give you an example. Sometimes patients have to say they can't do something, or they have to tell somebody that's too many reps in therapy or whatever. I just can't do it. And again, not with Barbara or anything like that, but like when I was in the home, I can remember a therapist saying to me, well, if you don't want to get better, and I thought, wow, that's no compassion for me. Here I am trying, and because there's all these people around, I said, no, that's too many. I can't do any more. I guess I hurt her feelings, and then she would say something like that, like I don't want to get better,
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing that.
So compassion.
Yeah. Demonstrate exceptional care and kindness to others. Be respectful. Treat others the way they wish to be treated.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. What about to you? Which value speaks to you, and in particular, and maybe even in particular as it relates to your experience with Mr. Giffords? Is there something that jumps out in terms of compassion, excellence, and reliability?
Well, for myself personally, I think the biggest thing that I do well, not to toot my own horn, but I do listen to people, and that's why I'm a therapist and have been for over 25 years. I want to help people, and so I do listen to him. His goals are my goals, and I want to help him achieve them as best I can. So I am open to listening to people, and sometimes I don't cut them off when I need to get out of there. I'll stay and listen to them talk and stuff. So
yeah, Barbara's never missed an appointment. None of your therapists have ever missed an appointment with me, and she always asks at the beginning of every therapy session, "Is there anything you want to do today?" So that's kind of gets me thinking. After she leaves, or when I have some downtime, well, what can we maybe do that I need to that would help myself?
Before we wrap up, is there anything that you all hoped we would talk about or wanted to express, either to me or to the masses before?
No, I think you kind of covered it all, and I did do some thinking before you got here because I tried to anticipate your questions.
All right. Cool. Well, I first want to, I definitely want to thank you both, because it's not easy to sort of be put on the spot with questions, not unscripted and informal. I feel like Oprah or something, and your family as well, your parents. I think it's very nice of you to have us in your house. I think I would also wrap up just by saying, for me individually, personally. These are the most powerful and important experiences, because it's so easy for me, and I'm sure for many of us, to get caught up in all of the mundane, and to connect with people, and to learn about your individual goals, triumphs, and challenges, and to be reminded that your goals are my goals, and that the reason we're here is to help you have a safe home life, and to be, there's no better way than to just sit down and have a conversation about it. And I think for many of you know that I've been trying to do this more, and spend a lot of time in homes like this and tell stories about it. And I think you know, in the spirit of a little bit of you know, sort of unabashed promotion, we're trying to use social media candidly to create an energy of engagement and connectedness about the work that we do, and use whether it's video or Facebook or any other medium where we can where we can talk about why it is that we're passionate about what we do, and why it is that we what speaks to us, and what value is something that we're passionate about on one day or another. And so your story is one that is just one of many, and I hope to be at least one agent of telling stories so that people of like-minded people are drawn and interested and are able to connect to ensure that we're all grounded in what's important. And so I'd ask everybody out there, you know, share your stories, whether it's client stories or stories about colleagues that you're proud of, or that you want to recognize. I think I'm personally am trying to create an outlet, because I think it can be very lonely for both our clients and our employees in the community, out there working to do what they're passionate about, and to navigate to meet their goals. But I think we are a community of like-minded professionals and have a real opportunity to continuously reconnect with what's important. And so I'd encourage you all to do that. And I'm really, really thankful that you helped us do that today.
And tell Mark that all his employees are very busy and working hard.
All right, I will. I will do that. Thank you. Thank you very much.